Am I live yet? It's trying. What is going on with StreamYard today? Anytime now. This is not good. And we haven't gone live. Oh, we are live? Why is it saving? I hate this thing. Anyway, hey, I'm Brent Leary. It is Friday, November 7th, 2025. And it's a little, just a slight minute or two after noon on the East Coast. You know what that means. I hope you know what that means because you can explain it to me if you can. It is small biz breakdown time. I'm not going to haggle. I'm just going to introduce folks. We always start the furthest west we can go, and that means Leland from Oregon.
Hey, Brent, I have got to watch this over again because those first 30 seconds were comedy gold.
They were just riveting, weren't they?
Yeah. Man, why aren't we live yet?
I hate StreamYard. Can I just, we're gonna have to find something else. Anyway, things are good out west, though.
Oh yeah, it's beautiful out. It's nice and kind of crisp. That autumn crisp. I love it. It's a far cry from the scorching heats of the summer.
I like autumn crisp more than scorching heat too, as well. So we're doing good. And guess what? We get to actually go to our nation's heartland, apparently.
Ooh.
Because usually we go from Leland from Oregon to Madam Mic Drop from Magical Medina. That's kind of hard to say. It's like a tongue twister in there. But we are actually making a slight detour here because the bold one, the cold one, John Cold Rice Lawson couldn't join us today. Let's all wish him well on his travels to the airports. We never know how that's going to come out these days. But all the way from Gary, Indiana, and he's not even a Jackson, or maybe there's some Jackson. Yeah, maybe there's some there. But anyway, from the heartland, I finally get to say that even. From the heartland, it is Pierre Du Bois. Hey, Pierre.
Hey, good morning. Happy to be here, and thank you for having me on. So glad to join in.
Absolutely. And you give me a chance to say coming from the heartland. So that's always a good thing. Because I tried to do that with the next person as we travel even further east from Gary, Indiana to magical Medina. It is Madam Mic Drop herself. Wow, that sounds so good when I say that. Evena Taylor. Hey, Evena.
Hi, all. As you can see, it's a little gloomy here. We are having a rain, and the leaves, if anybody likes Monty Python, I'm a huge Monty Python fan. They do this thing where the leaves are falling and they're dying. They're like, ah!
Do they actually do that? Like I'm melting sound?
I don't know if you guys have seen some of these videos, but people have like hooked up little like vibration receivers to plants, and you can hear like mushrooms play music and sing. So
you can hear mushrooms play music.
Yes.
What does that sound like? Actually,
it just sounds like new wave stuff, like beep, beep, beep.
Oh, it's like Yanni. I mean, no, I'd rather hear
but
Yanni.
I'm just saying the leaves are going through the circle of life, and I'm here for it.
Okay, let's see if they're going through the circle of life. Our nation's capital, where we go to the one who's always smiling. I've never, ever seen him not smiling in the basically 20 years I've known him. Shashi Belmkonda. Hey, Shashi.
Hey, everybody. Good to see you, Pierre, Ivana, Leland, and Brent. Greetings from the capital of the world.
The world now. Okay. Okay. How are things in the capital of the world?
You know, we were all discussing a couple of weeks ago that the government shutdown won't affect any of us. And somebody heard it on this show and said, let's make it affect everybody.
I was going to say, I bet if we asked that person, whoever it was that said it then, we might have a different answer, but yeah, we'll see. But now we go all the way from one capital to another capital. It's the vacation capital. Did I get this right? Did I actually get it right? Ramon, yes. Ray, did I get it right?
Brent, Thank you. And indeed, New Jersey is the vacation capital of the world. You can see that at vacationcapitalnj.com, vacationcapitalnj.com. It's good to be here. And Ramon was stuck in Nashville. I got a text saying your flight is canceled last night. So I was here all day. I took it from the airport so I could have breakfast and dinner in case it was stuck. But I ended up getting here on time. So I'm good to be here. And what's up, Brent and all the crew?
Wow. So you were a casualty, but you made it through.
White House texted me. I got a text from the White House at 3 saying my United flight was delayed. I went back. I talked to Kayleigh McEnany, and she's like, cool, we'll rework it. It was complicated. I can't explain everything I did, but me and the White House got it solved, and I'm here. It's bottom line, Brent.
They did you a solid.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good. All right. So, wow. I know I repeat myself a lot when we do these things, but it really does feel like it's been more than a week since we last did this with all the stuff that's going on. I mean, I don't have enough time in this show to name all the stuff that went on. I'll just ask you this, each of you. How did your week go? I mean, did all that happen, did have any impact on you whatsoever? And if it did, what was the impact? What did it do to you? Whoever wants to go first, Ramon, go ahead. We know you like to go first.
Hey, I'm willing to give the other one the chance. But, hey, but no, listen, two things. One, just to underline and repeat that it did affect me. The FAA, my plane was canceled because, and United had it in the app due to the FAA, blah, blah, blah. Your flight is canceled. That was something that hit close to home, and our hearts go out to those who get SNAP, government assistance. That's a real thing. We can laugh and joke, but, it's people not eating food. I've been there. I've been on government assistance a season of my life. So, I'm not pretending, to be rougher life than I had, but I understand that. But, Brent and crew here, I was at a private equity conference the last 2 days. So that was just interesting, just sharing my world, private equity, dealing in the billions and billions and big exits, going public or being bought by somebody bigger. So it's different life than the small business world I'm in. Like, oh, buy this for $99 a month or $49 a month, or, we're small business, $3 million. You're talking about $1 billion valuation company. So it was nice. The point is to see that side of the world and get a taste of just something different of thinking and valuations and revenue. So that's my little slice of the world. My week was, it was good.
All right. Pass it to somebody.
Yeah. You know what? I'm looking at Leland's texting me like, Ramon, I want to go. He's like, dude, don't skip me. So sorry, Leland, I got your text. Your tag.
Did everything that's going on in this world affect me personally? No. I will say that the lines at Walmart were a little shorter and it wasn't as crowded. And that is sad. It is sad to see that that there were fewer people that weren't able to get their benefits that they needed to be able to survive. I have seen a surgence of businesses giving free meals to kids with the purchase of like an adult meal or something to that effect, or help raise can drives, or sharing information about, okay, here's where the food banks are. So I love seeing that. I love seeing that the community is coming together. At least my community is coming together to be able to rally around people who aren't able to be able to get food and be able to help them through this difficult time. I do love seeing that. When it comes to my week in general, I just came back from Adobe, so it's more like I'm doing catch up, and I'm like head down with all the stuff that I got from it, and playing, just catch up, working on new projects or something like that I with the new information that I got. So that's been my week, and it's been a fun week. It's been a fun week of exploring. But yeah, my heart does go out to those who can't make it to Walmart because their SNAP benefits are dried up. Shashi.
Great, thank you. And I'd love to hear about Adobe Max at some point on this show or otherwise. That would be great. I've been thinking of a lot of people who were affected, right? Like, and I'm going to talk, Blend, if I may, a little bit about politics in general. Like, the reason why people don't show up for voting is because their day-to-day life is never affected by whoever is in power, right? So more people just like, I think 60% is the number of people who come to vote. But that's changing now. Now that, people are seeing some effect of neighbors, of just normal people who the government has no business to affect their lives, start seeing changes. I mean, I would have said that, hey, everything is okay. I don't have anything to deal with the government. So then I realized like Thanksgiving is coming, people in the family are traveling, and I don't know if they'll be able to make it or not. And if they can't make it, they'll have to scramble and try to find them. It's almost like somebody asked one of these AI engines the question that how can we make it more painful for people who are not interested in politics? So I'm a little sad. And Leland, I take your point. There are a lot of people in the DC area who are lining up at food banks, which they shouldn't. So that's my week. Over to you, Pierre.
Okay. I would say professionally not as heavy. That's the price you pay when you keep working with data a lot of times. I'm in the middle of teaching this semester as well. But I would say personally, I have a goddaughter who I'm thinking about. In fact, I want to get in contact with her mom, who's over in Japan. There are teachers who are part of a military branch. They usually go on to local bases and they do a lot of the teaching for children and everything else. They are part of the furlough right now. So it's really hard it's not only just hard, for people here in the States, but, in different parts of the world where we have military and people who support the military, and some of those folks are also impacted as well. And even for FAA, I have a brother-in-law who is a higher up on the FAA for medical, and I know that he's dealing with this quite a bit. So we usually have the short text saying, "You okay? Yeah, I'm good for now." But I know "good for now" has a little bit more narrative behind it. So I think, personally, I think it's interesting to see how people are affected, and I agree. I mirror what Shashi is saying. I think America is almost like an automatic transmission of a car. You don't do a lot. There's things that you don't do a lot of shifting like you would for a manual, but there are more things in gear behind the things that are going on. And sometimes we these shutdowns are almost a reminder of how extensive that is, even when people have a little bit of rhetoric about, oh, I don't like the government and I don't want it to impede. They don't understand that there's other things going on that are not as political, but still processes that are important to how we get on with our daily lives. So that's always on the back of my mind as well. So I'll say that. I'm going to hold the professional stuff for as we go through our other questions.
Well, I think that leaves just one person.
I guess that leaves me. I have like 3 completely different things. In short, the question was, has the shutdown affected me? And the first thought I had is we are all connected, and this is all a delayed system, to use Pierre's analogy, which you must have been reading my mind, right? So we are all connected. So then the second thought I had that came after that, while I was being quiet for a change, was, hey, I heard somewhere a statistic that 60-some% of the people in this country, bipartisan all around, like more than half of the people in this country feel that the government is too big. Well, guess what? We were just talking about market testing. Now the government is really small, and this is what it feels like. So I'm kind of curious as to, like, we are getting kind of what we asked for in some ways, right? But finally, I actually, while there were a lot of big elections going on, I have not always been active in voting locally. And so, but this time I did, and there was nothing big on the ballot, like absolutely nothing. We voted for like school board, the mayor of our beautiful Hallmark town, prestige, like very boring things. There were 2 big things. There were like tax increases on our parks, for our park system, and for our schools, as always. again, we are all interconnected, right? So do I want to pay more taxes? No, of course not. Do I want my home to retain its value? Absolutely. What are two things that retain a home's value? The school system, the city, three things, and the parks. People want parks. So these are all things that are connected and don't impact us personally, but it impacts the collective. And hence, do I want to pay more taxes? Is my child in school? No. But somebody's is gonna be. And maybe that someone, when I die or retire, is gonna want to buy this house or like whatever the situation is. And on a really positive note, again, I'm not familiar with local elections that much because I've not really done it. In our town, you do not see what anybody's party is. There were no parties on the ballot at all. And there is this community thing. Like, I actually think the two men that were running are friends. Like, I was okay either way. I voted for one. He didn't win, but that's okay. Like, there was this beautiful thing in the community where people are like working together for the good of our community. And we have a strong small business community around our square. We have a new hotel going in. Both of these guys were virtually indistinguishable on experience and what they've done for the city. I was good with either one. And I think that's really beautiful. I kind of got to thinking, like, what if I know this is not the thing, but like, it would be cool if we didn't see parties and you only saw what people stood for. And do you want this thing or do you not want this thing? And even in that, there was little distinction. That was my complaint. I'm done.
Well, I mean, I don't think we'll ever get away from some kind of a party system because there is strength in numbers. And so, and I mean, our whole culture is basically about winning and doing what it takes to win, and it usually takes more than one person. You know, that's why we love football so much. It's a team effort, or any kind of sport. But yeah, I do wish it wasn't so, emphasized. Because when's the last time like an independent really won a big time election? I don't know. Like, there's never been one that's won a presidential election. So I don't. Although I love what you're saying, I don't think it's gonna happen.
I like I said, all I'm saying is that the experience that I have every day in my town, in government offices, in the small business community, living my everyday life. People are good and kind and helpful, from the most mundane to the biggest things. And, people say all politics is local. And I'm wondering, I don't know that. I mean, I know big thoughts and stupid thoughts in my head, right?
No, not stupid.
No. But the stuff you think about, right? Like, I feel like, and I'm wondering, and I'm pretty sure that in Gary, Indiana, it's probably something very similar. That in every small community, I heard somewhere that even in New York City, a community is something like, I don't know, Ramon, you might know better, like a group of blocks, like a 4-block, 8-block, like it's something like that. And you can get everything you want. You could like not leave that area because everything you need is there. And that becomes a community, even in a city of 8 million people.
Let me ask you, Ramon, something, because you live in Jersey, but you spend a lot of time in the city, right? I mean,
Yep.
So do you think there's going to be any significant impact on you personally by who won the mayoral election in New York City?
I don't think the impact will be on me personally, no. And I think that's because those of us who are blessed and have income flow, whether access to credit, whatever we have our homes, our townhouses, our cars. Maybe we're out of the hood, as it were, whatever that hood may be. And for you, where I lived, where I grew up, we first moved into our Brooklyn apartment, our town, apartment. We put bars on the windows because somebody will come down the fire escape and break in and rob your stuff. So I lived in that for a moment. So the point I'm trying to get at to Brent, no, I don't think it will directly affect me. I do not. But I do think, to Evena's point, some things can be very local. You don't think about who appointed the crossing guards, who appointed this, that, and the other. They got $20,000 to pick this lawnmower company, that lawnmower company for the local park. We don't care. Maybe hanky-panky, maybe not. Don't affect us. But I think things like police, as you all know, in a big city like New York, trying to not be political, but the tone, I believe that's impacted. There are people who break into Targets in Midtown. That is a fact. So you can take politics out of it. Do you want the police to come, overwhelming force, take it out, or just, hey, these are youth, they're just playing around? That's up to your call now. And Target's going to make a decision and say, we're out. CVS is out. Starbucks is out. It's not worth our interest. So that's the kind of thing, Brent, I think over time, it'll take a bit of time, over a year or two, will we see Grand Central, Penn Station. They're filthy now, but will they be any filthier? Things like that at a high level that a mayor can impact directly. So
that was really interesting. Thanks for that. And by the way, bringing back hanky panky, that takes a lot of guts. I ain't heard that saying in a number of years. I'm just, my hat's off to you for bringing that back for us. And of course, our favorite friend of the show, Amber Donald.
Hey, Amber.
Hey, Amber.
It's just not Friday afternoon without Amber. So thank you for allowing us to continue with our Friday afternoon. All right. So I think it was Leland who brought this to our attention in the chat. I want to make sure I get the right thing here. I think this is it.
Oh.
Leland, yeah, you were the one that put that in our little chat thing, and it caused quite the conversation. You want me to explain, or you want to explain it? And why did you want to bring this to our attention?
I've just seen it all over Facebook, and it's just you see the before and the after of ChatGPT and how many jobs were correlating to the S&P 500. It always kind of matched. S&P 500 went up, jobs went up. Went down, goes down. And then as soon as you got AI, all of a sudden you got this kind of divergence. Number of jobs goes down, S&P goes up. So it's got the split, and it, to me, and to pretty much in any of the comments that I saw, was like, okay, well, we got a direct correlation of AI kind of taking jobs.
Before I ask everybody else the way it is, I actually did my CRM player show yesterday with my buddy Paul Greenberg, and we had the co-founder of Sugar CRM, Clint Oram, who his Twitter handle is the best handle I ever saw. He was calling himself Sugar Clint, which I thought was just that's really good. All right. Now he's left. He's doing advisory, he's doing investors, he's doing all that stuff. But I had to get his take on it because he's one that's built a big business, well, a sizable business, not big in the big scheme of things, but hundreds of millions of dollars of revenue, that kind of business. Not the folks that Ramon hangs around, not that kind of big, but just insane. So I wanted to see what he thought about this, because he's probably coming at it from a different perspective of me, because I've never had to hire a whole bunch of folks or all that kind of stuff, or bring a product to market and all that. So I wanted to ask him, what did he think about this? I called it, those what do they call them? Rorschach tests, where you show an image and you ask people to see what they see, and like you ask 1,000 people to look at the same thing, and you get 1,000 different definitions of what they think it is. So I did that with him. I think I might have called it the Rorschach test, which really is, part of the time when I grew up of age. Anyway, so here is what he had to say. And I know I got to do this for StreamYard because it's been killing me every time I don't do that. All right. Now, this is what Clint Oram had to say about this picture as I try to put this out.
Is part of the story that it's trying to push forward, which is AI is impacting jobs. I think that's absolutely happening, but nowhere near to the scale that I think might be implied in this. Because what I see in here is, look at the blue line in 2021, and look at the blue line in 2025.
Right.
Oh, we got back to where we were pre-pandemic.
Mm.
I think there's a pandemic story in there. I think there's a pandemic false economy story that a lot of stimulus money got pumped into the economy. A lot of companies were spending stimulus money on technology. It fueled a lot of growth in technology companies coming from that stimulus money. And technology companies were hiring people right and left. There was a flat out war for talent back in 2022, 2023, as everybody was trying to gobble up as much talent as possible. And I remember looking at that and going, that is not sustainable. I'm looking at 2008 when things were going good, pre 2008, and then we had the 2000 crash and things, and the jobs went down and they started growing back. I think we're popping a bubble here.
All right. So let me get rid of that. And so what do you got? Whoever, what do you think what he said? Do you agree, disagree? Why? Or why not?
Leland, you share the image. Leland, go.
That is a really good point, and there is a sharp increase right after the COVID kind of lockdown started subsiding, and that is an interesting increase. And I mean, yeah, a hiring frenzy does actually increase stocks as well. So it could inflate your value of your company. And then I think, we have like the Elon Musk situation kind of coming in with Twitter, to where he just axed, it's like 75% or something like that of his company. And it worked just fine without 75% of his employees. There may have been some hiccups, but it's working just as well as it did with all of those employees. And so tech companies, whether they like or hate Elon Musk, are going to take notice and go, do I need all of these middle managers? Do I need these employees that do just one or two tasks? And can I consolidate? And then on top of that, you do have the AI introduction, where they go, well, I have this employee and he only does these menial tasks. I could get AI to do that, and it does it just as well. And I mean, we are seeing jobs being taken away from lower end employees, starting positions being replaced by AI. I remember seeing an article about a sharp decrease in junior legal analysts and lawyers positions going down drastically, because a lot of their job is research. And that is one of the big things that AI can do. If you don't get hallucinations, you have to verify. But you also have freelance websites. I think it's Upwork who is pushing a lot into AI, and that's going to affect what the freelancers do on Upwork. Pretty much most of the, they make videos, they shoot pictures, they do the menial small labor, and Upwork is trying to be like, well, we got AI that can do exactly that, and so we're just going to cut out the middleman, and you just pay us directly. So I think that there's a little from A, a little from B, and it's just caused that perfect dip storm, personally. Ramon.
Dip storm, right? Is dip. I just want to make
Dip
sure.
storm, yeah.
To make sure.
Yeah, no, Leland, I think you're right on that. And again, taking the PE example, the private equity conference I was at, I don't think it's fluff. We don't know what's fluff yet. It'll take a while for us to know if this is where, I think, as we said, in a few years, this will be like the internet. People stop saying the internet's here. But I think the PE firms, Salesforce was there, Brent's friends, and agentic AI. They had a full presentation talking very openly about, hey, do this or that. And it saved 400 people or 232,000 a month and whatever. PE firms don't mess around with their money. They don't mess around with stats, hard stats. They track this stuff. It's all about valuation, I believe. Shashi and Brent may know better these things, but as I'm trying to explain it. But the point is, yes, I believe this indicator, the gentleman who spoke, Brent, could be right. But from what I'm seeing just at the conferences, I was with Robert Johnson. I think his name Robert Johnson, or Robert Smith, rather.
Robert Smith, man.
Robert Smith, the billionaire. And same thing. At a high level, this guy deals with money. He's talking about, no, AI is the real deal. We are seeing cataclysmic transformations in how companies are working. So whatever it is, I do think there's a big part of it that is legitimately reducing workforce. I think it's real. Shashi, what do you think, brother?
Yeah, I might disagree with this a little bit.
Sorry, 1 second, Shashi. Pierre, go ahead.
Sashi,
No.
go ahead. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
I think Orem was right. If you look at the blue line, right, like it's much higher than what it was in 2020. And I know this for a fact that people started hiring just to conserve employment for a long time. So two things that are happening here is the post-ChatGPT black line is mainly fueled by the AI companies, the infrastructure and everything else. So the stock market is not as realistic as it could be so that's one thing. AI hasn't taken away any jobs, in my opinion. Like the companies that say that have the headlines, but for every place where AI has been introduced, they've actually had an excessive amount of human beings in the loop because companies still don't trust AI to be autonomous. Tech companies will say, like Ramon, agentic AI is going to be there. It's not here yet. It is going to be there. It's going to be Ramon gets up in the morning and says, agent, post video. And the agent is going to go through Ramon's content and say, like, here's what Ramon is saying. We're not there yet. Today, if Ramon, you tried it, it'd probably say, like, Shashi is the best, right? So
That's all I see on my IG is people singing all over. Shashi is the best.
I'm doing a few experiments. Now, one thing that we have to also look at is the Fed rates. They went from 0 to whatever is the latest percentage, right? 3.5 or 4. That also affects whether people are going to employ more people or not, or are they going to lay off. And companies have realized that they can either remain flat, which a lot of good companies are doing, meaning we're not going to recruit more. The companies that are catering to Wall Street are actually reducing it irrespective of whether AI is taking over their jobs or not. That's my view.
By the way, Shashi, you just made Amber cry. I just want you to know that.
Oh,
Yeah. Anyway, even though you've been notoriously quiet for most of the show, so but I know there's things moving around in that brain. So why don't you share a little of what's going on up in that brain?
I'm not as smart as all you people.
no.
I'm not real good at the maths, right? But I just got curious because we've been hearing about people losing their jobs. And in my conversations this week, I've heard people say that there are now more consultants than ever because all these people are getting laid off and they're becoming consultants. Then I got to thinking about, hey, I wonder how many people graduate from college every year. Like every year we are pumping out graduates. In 2025, there were 2.1 million bachelor degrees, 1.1 million associate's degrees, 864,000 master's degrees, and 203,000 doctoral degrees. And I don't know, that makes like, let's say 3.5 million, 4 million people who are coming out into the workforce. Like I don't know, let's say those numbers were similar, like over the years. So it's just making me think that all the purchasing and all the money is being spent like at the top, like we talked about last week, from these income earners. Like how much stuff can they buy? Yeah. I'm thinking about these AI companies, and the thing that's different from now and the what would you call it, the internet bubble, is that these folks are established companies. They sell products. They are selling products. But the video that I shared was the one that's not mathing to me. Because like I said, I'm not the sharpest tool in the shed. So I'm like, these people are all making deals with each other. So if I gave Brent $100, he's like, I got $100 of income. And then Brent says, hey,
I would definitely do that too.
Right? You'd be like, hey. And then you'd be like, hey, even here's $100. And then we pass out $100 around this panel. That's that same $100, but each one of us is listing that as revenue. And now they're making these agreements and all this stuff. And that's why I shared that video with you, Brent, because I was like, I didn't hear an answer. And I'm getting flashbacks to the internet bubble part. Is like, who's going to buy this stuff? I'm asking, because people are unemployed. New graduates are about to be unemployed or coming in. Consumer confidence is dropping. People are putting stuff on credit cards. I want to talk about these interconnected systems, because the bubble doesn't have to pop, but somebody's got to buy those chips. And if Amazon buys the chips, and if these big companies buy the chips, who's going to buy the stuff? Because Leland just said the Walmart was not as full. So you see what I'm saying? So you guys have to help me, because I am not. Explain it to me, because I'm not getting it.
I think you're touching upon a good point. It's historically, when it comes to hiring people, companies pull people, they grab everywhere. If all of us was Ford dealers and we know that there's high demands for the Ford Mustang, all of us would be looking for salesmen to help sell those Mustang GT convertibles, the Mustang RTRs and the base Mustangs and so forth. And I think it's exactly how Amazon had talked about this. It's the idea that, Amazon actually said that, hey, we hired during the pandemic and we're trying to correct. And I think that correction is coming in just right now as AI, getting ready to, really get more into agentic AI and more into devices. But I think that chart, I think the challenge I have for that chart just a little bit is that it's still almost a simplified correlation, just saying, okay, AI happened here, in 2023, and the stock market's going up, but we need to see some job losses. It depends on the industry. If you talk to people who are counselors, like people who do mental health, people who sit down and counsel, there's a huge pushback right now on using AI as being a counselor. That's a whole different subject. So that may not be where the layoffs are coming off. We're still talking about corporate layoffs for the most part, where people have invested so much in having people available and then realizing that they are preparing for what may be coming next with agentic AI. But agentic AI really, it's here, but it's not here in terms of guiding, completely for operations. There's some spots of it, but I think that wave is still developing. And I think what companies tend to do is that they just over adjust. So this is going to be an adjustment for sure. It's a downer on Christmas, particularly now with a shutdown that we're dealing with in the middle of everything. But at the same, but to Ivana's point, it's about economics, and a lot of times companies do not do very well with economics in terms of thinking about risk. They just think in terms of, let's grab some people, and then they look up and go, oh, well, we're not going to sell that many Mustangs. So Pierre's Ford dealership, you're out now, because we're not going to sell as many as we thought we did. So those things I think are happening. I think that's what we're seeing from this right now.
I want to bring up Amber's comment here. Amber says there must be an increase in salaries for citizens to truly buy things. Now I think big money is circulating amongst companies that are doing well and companies in overflow. All right, so buy
the stuff.
Well, so here's the thing. This is not a new phenomenon. I always go back to 1849, the gold rush, when all the little independent tin panners got this. Oh my God, there's all this just gold dripping all over California. You can just look up, pull it off like it's an apple. Oh, there's gold. Right? So they all packed up their family. I was going to do the Beverly Hills. Got the family up, moved it up to Hollywood and all that. But these are the little guys, because that dream of being a big guy with money was sold to them. So they packed their goods up, packed their families up, went thousands of miles across the country, got there, bought their tin pans, bought their shovels, bought their dungarees, and got out there and started doing the tin panning. And when they got there, they were very happy. Oh, I'm here. I'll just put it out, put it in there, and I'm sure a gold nugget will just come out. And it didn't happen. But the dream was still there. So more people came out and they bought more shovels and stuff. And guess who got all the money from the gold rush? It was the shovel makers. It was the tin pan makers. It was Levi Strauss, because those people took all the money, bought it on the hope of making more money in gold. This is what's going on now for the most part. There's only a few. Well, we just saw what happened with Elon. His shareholders basically gave him $1 trillion. How many people could live off of that for the entirety of their lives? One guy is going to get that. So this is just as what AI usually does. It accelerates the growth, and it expands it out for only the few that can actually get in front of everything and sell this story to the rest of us. So I think there's going to be a lot of that, because there's always been a lot of that, but this technology just so happens to make you reach a bigger audience faster than you ever could. I don't know. I want to bring this back too. I want to bring this up just for a second, because this is, S&P, the way that this thing is growing. I want to ask you, because there's another kind of study that just came out. So the S&P, a handful of companies are really driving this thing, right? What percentage of the top 20 companies in the S&P, what percentage of the wealth do you think are in just the top 20, percentage-wise? Give me a percent of what the top 20 companies own when it comes to the S&P market valuation.
60%.
Okay, we got 60%.
Yeah, this is one I'm not sure on, Brent. I'll go at 70. And by the way, shout out to Ardeen Japp, who's just want to break in here if I'm in a little programming note, Brent. Ardeen, who you may know has an amazing business, and you can find her online. I'm looking for it now to come back in a minute, but Ardeen's an amazing member of business community, one of the first entrepreneurs that have Black American themed Christmas decorations in Sam's Club or Walmart. I always forget. So cool. Ardeen.
Ardeen, drop what you sell, exactly what you sell in the comments, so we all know. All right, go ahead.
Yeah, I said 70. And sorry, go ahead, Leland. What were you going to say? What was your guess?
I'll go 80, just the antithesis of it.
So you got 60, we got 70, we got 80. Who has 90? How many?
Also, Brent, on the comment about Elon Musk, right? There are only two countries that have an annual budget of $1 trillion, US and China. So imagine the power.
Crazy.
But of course, this is not like a given lump sum. It's over a period of whatever valuation Tesla has.
Amber is saying 85%. So we got 60, 70, 80, 85.
I'm going to go with 58.
58. That's a beautiful number. It's great.
Yeah. I figured 55 might be low. 60, I don't want to step on other toes. I'll go halfway between that.
I thought you just looked at Amber and you were dyslexic and said, all right, I'll do 58. Okay, Ivana.
I don't know. I was like in the 80s. I'm going to say 83. I don't know. I just don't know. I know it's a lot.
Okay.
I wanted to say 90, but that kind of feels too high.
Well, to be honest with you all are a little high. Wait a minute. That didn't come out right.
Well, it's a Friday, I mean.
Maybe we should be.
Would you be surprised that it's only 52%? But look what it was just a mere 5 years ago. So the top 20 made up 39% in 20. And that's 2000. That's 2000, not 2020. So it went from 39% in 2000 to 52%. Now you got to remember, I think it's $42 trillion of S&P valuations or something like that. So, and there's a lot of companies on it. Well, there's 500 companies. so 20 companies owning even 50% is really significant. And they kind of look at this is the internet related economy versus the AI related economy. So anyway,
I thought I thought it was top 20% of companies. not
No, I
20.
said top 20 companies.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's
And
why I
one
went
thing-
high. I'm like the top 20%. So, like the top 100 companies should that's where my mind went.
Oh, okay. Well, so 20 out of 500, that would be what, about the top 5% or thereabouts? I don't know.
Mm.
Yeah.
Somewhere like that.
Brent,
So-
one comment on the gold rush analogy.
Me.
What's happening now is, like, if you look at Nvidia, with all that money, they're putting it into Intel, Nokia, probably a few others, to buy their chips back again. So ultimately, they're not creating any wealth, but just distributing it, right?
Well, yeah. But they're the modern day pick and shovel company, though. Everybody thinks they need, and they might be right. Everybody thinks they need what they have in order to get the gold. So it's kind of the same thing going on. It's the people getting the gold or getting the picks and shovels are just a handful. Microsoft, so all these companies are buying all it up, and they're hoping that they'll be able to, make even more money off of the little guys somehow.
What's the end use, Brent? Can you just for my information, like, my understanding is that these are chips, right? So, like, they're going to go into, like, your computer, your phone, right? Like, where are they
they're going into data center.
Like,
They're going into basically big data center computers for the processing of all this information that people need, all the data that people need for their AI to actually be kind of smart.
So they're projecting. So walk me through this, because I think these kinds of details are really important for people to know, right?
Yeah.
So they have built data centers, right? They're like Leland was talking about. They have built data centers, but these companies are sort of preparing to build even more data centers. Is that correct? The data centers that have not been built yet are going to require these parts. Is that correct?
Yeah, I'm going to pop up another image once I get rid of this. This is something that Sam Altman posted just yesterday, because he's getting this question too. He's getting, what are you going to do with all this money? Are you going to actually, on the promise of what is going to happen? You're getting all this money now because people think there's going to be all this bigger pot of money in the end once you do the stuff you do. And he's getting a lot of questions. What are you actually going to do? How is this actually going to pay off for these people giving you hundreds of billions of dollars? So he says, how is OpenAI going to pay for all this infrastructure it is signing up for? This is a company that really didn't hit people's radars. It hasn't even been 3 years, because it was later in November of 2022. He says, we expect it to end this year above 20 billion in annualized revenue run rate and grow to hundreds of billions by 2030. We are looking at commitments of about $1.4 trillion over the next 8 years. Obviously, this requires continued revenue growth, and each doubling is a lot of work. But we feel good about our prospects there, and that's enough for NVIDIA to give them 100 billion, for Microsoft to give them 137 billion, for AWS to give them 38 billion, so on and so forth. So that's their answer to this question, even not mine.
Do you think, I just had an interesting thought, since we're making analogies to the past, do you think that these data centers are going to be sort of the interstate highways?
It's
right, like
infrastructure.
how we employed people to do interstate highways. They're going to be, because that's the important part to understand why I'm asking these questions, because I believe right now the bulk of small business owners and manufacturers do not know what they are going to do and how they are going to do it. They need to be thinking 5-10 years ahead. They need to survive today to think about those 5-10 years ahead. And I have got to be thinking about, what am I supposed to tell these people? Right?
These are all hedging their bets, because you're right. Nobody knows exactly what's going to happen, but they're trying to gather as much money as they can and try things out as they can, so that, as most startups, the startup investor guys, if they invest in like 20 companies, they might not only hit on but 2, but those 2 might make up for all the other 18 that fail.
But I think what's scary about this, though, is the economic impact that it will have in the communities where they're building these data centers.
Or not building them, as the case may be, right?
Yeah, because
that's a separate issue. Is it not? That's a separate. I mean, we can go there, Pierre. We'll go there, but isn't that a separate issue? We're talking about the economy evaluation, the economic impact. That's a separate issue. Continue.
It's still part of it, though. If you're Chat GPT and you're trying to build out data centers, and there's a resistance that's forming in different communities, that's going to impact like where you are. That impacts your plans and where you deploy. You know, you were seeing this right now with Memphis and what's going on against Musk, and you know, on the one hand, these towns, when you get the data centers, they do things for infrastructure and everything else, but people are pushing back because they feel like there's water and tax resources that come into play. This is an old thing that that companies always have faced. Even my town, Gary, Indiana, was built around steel, and you know, for a time this was a good thing. But at some point, there's I think what's scary about this, to what Brent brought up, is the whole idea that I'm not against data centers, don't get me wrong necessarily. It's just that it's a very nebulous description of what you want it for, which I think makes people uncomfortable because it's such a high scale. And I think the challenge that these companies are going to be finding, they're going to figure out, is we have our targets, but these targets are based on where we can deploy and where people are accepting that. And I think that's going to be a big play for a long time.
Because
I want to take this a step further.
By the way, just before we got a hard stop at 1 because I got to jump off, so we got 6 minutes.
So they already are sold out for 2 years. So which means that whatever they are planning for data centers, now the next step that all of these companies are going to build wealth, they're all coming after you. Meaning, forget data centers. You're going to have data centers in a box right in your house, just like your Wi-Fi router. And guess who's making the chips? Exactly all the companies that Brent showed in that. Because at some point, there has to be a balance between the power needed, the water needed, and the space needed, right? So that's when these companies will say, hey, we've reached the top here as far as building these huge 500,000 chip data centers. Let's start physical AI. And physical AI will be, I mean, our cars have 1 million chips. Now your house will have 1 million chips, right? So that's what I think. Go ahead, Brent. I know you want to get off at 1. So.
No, I think this is, you know, I know we're kind of in the bubble when we talk about this stuff from a kind of separate from like Main Street, mom and pop kind of small business. But don't you think they need to have some level of understanding of what is possibly going on? It doesn't have to be at the detail level, because one thing you are seeing is data centers. People are now being kind of skeptical about having data centers put in their backyard because it's going to be an energy drain. It's going to increase costs. It's going to increase, water usage, which means that's going to go up too. And so while the promise of, data centers going to bring jobs and all that, I don't think it's going to bring as many human jobs as some people may think it will. Is going to raise resources on our individual houses, probably more than most people understand. And yet they don't seem to know enough about it, and they don't seem to worry about it unless there's a direct, immediate impact on them.
But Brent, that's my point, Brent. Not my point, but that's the point that I want to echo here, is that Gary, Indiana, whatever nobody cares town, wherever Leland lives, wherever that my point being is that wherever these things are built, it only matters to the local people. It's not a big enough issue like nationally. And so my point is, therefore, data centers are going to be built. We know that AI is not going away. It is simply not going to happen. The train is moving. The train tracks, right? To your point, Brent, good point. The train tracks are going to be built. People can do their little dance, their little thing. We don't want electricity. We don't want telegrams. People, it's coming. We're going to pay you off. Other things that may happen off, or government regulation off. It's moving. So that's all I'm saying. It's going to happen. We can talk all day about this, but that's going to happen.
I just don't know. I just want to add one thing. Everyone who's listening, we are really talking about, this is time to pay attention. We're talking about opportunities and threats, your SWOT analysis. You got to be thinking about these things, to Brent's point, right? And I think where people are going to be upset is that we are going to be paying for trillion-dollar companies R&D through our subsidizing of the power. That's already happened, and people are
happens all the
not
time.
happy.
That
We're
happens.
not getting the benefit of it yet. So, like, we're paying for it, we're not getting the benefit.
Yeah.
As someone who lives in a community where Amazon is building tons of data centers, I can speak on this a little bit. It is just combobulating when it comes to just the influx of money and jobs and stuff like that. The article that Shashi shared with me and all of us,
Yep.
the little town, and I've lived in this town. My wife grew up in this town, went from a budget of $7 million to $144 million. And now the mayor is suing the city council. It's caused a big amount of greed. And it caused its own, it's problems of having money. But I do worry about the minute that Amazon goes, okay, we've got enough. And then all of a sudden, all construction stops. And all the only jobs that are there are now just the data center employees who are swapping out hard drives and changing things. And then all of a sudden we're going to have this influx of like unemployed construction workers who, and if I've read right, there are some practices with Amazon to where it's like, if you work for Amazon in their construction business, it's like you gotta just kind of work for them. And so what's going to happen after now, they could potentially, because there's a lot of land and we're more than happy to build them, there could potentially just continue to roll them out. But they may go, well, we want to make sure that we have data centers closer to Seattle or closer to Portland or somewhere else. And, that slush fund could just get off.
Yeah. All right, we got to end, but this has been great. Lots of good stuff. And by the way, just to let people know, Ardene's name of the company is Ma Melanin.
Yeah, she's an amazing human. Yeah, Ardeen is a go-getter. She's amazing. Her and her family, just amazing. Glad to have you here, Ardeen.
All right. Thanks to everybody that showed up. Thanks for the comments. We will check you next Friday. Hopefully. See you.
Thank you. Have fun, everybody. Enjoy your weekend.